This year, as the AAAS Science and Human Rights Coalition marks its 10th anniversary, we've launched the Science and Human Rights Innovator Recognition. The recognition highlights innovative collaborations between scientists, engineers, health professionals, human rights organizations, and frontline communities. That is, projects that embody one of the primary goals of the coalition. Nominations were open to projects completed within the last 3 years that involved at least one non-governmental organization and demonstrated how human rights projects can effectively incorporate science and technology in achieving their goals. The selection committee tasked with reviewing the multiple strong nominations that we received was comprised of a multidisciplinary group of individuals from the science and technology arenas, as well, of course, as from human rights. Let me just get the award before I announce it. 1 second. That's not the hidden cabinet. Oh, that's the hidden cabinet. So hidden, I had no idea it was there. Okay, thank you. So I am thrilled to announce that the winner of the inaugural Science and Human Rights Innovators Recognition is Physicians for Human Rights for its MediCapt mobile application. The MediCapt app, which we'll hear more about in a video shortly, was developed by PHR in collaboration with partners in Kenya and the Democratic Republic of the Congo. It enables healthcare providers to securely document and store forensic medical evidence, which can then be used to support the prosecution of perpetrators of sexual violence. The Coalition's selection committee was particularly impressed by MediCapt for its combined use of technology and science to address impunity for sexual violence in conflict zones, incorporating extensive feedback from collaborators on the ground and seeking to address such ethical issues as data privacy, security, and ownership. Let me now just show you a video about MediCapt.
We've also developed MediCapt, a mobile app that pairs a digital medical form with photo capture capacity. MediCapt allows clinicians to capture more compelling medical evidence, to preserve it securely in the cloud, and to safely transmit it to the justice sector. We've co-designed the app with clinicians in Kenya and in Congo, and we're about to go live with patients next month. We've also been working very closely with local authorities to assure that the app is sustainable and fully integrated into existing platforms for mHealth and justice. PHR's cross-sectoral model is transforming prosecutions. Recently, in a landmark judgment in Congo, a court convicted 11 men, including a sitting member of parliament, of crimes against humanity for raping 42 young girls. MediCapt has the potential to multiply these victories. MediCapt is poised to have global impact to document sexual violence cases anywhere, anytime. It can be used with any language, any form, any legal jurisdiction, but we need your help. We would love to tap into Solve Community's ability to think through strategies for scale-up and growth. Together, we can make MediCapt a powerful tool to dramatically increase access to justice for survivors. Thank you.
Thank you indeed. As winners of the recognition, PHR receive a plaque and $10,000 to support the future development of the app. I'd like now to invite to receive the recognition from PHR, Dr. Ranit Mishori and Katie Johnson, both of whom work with PHR's program on sexual violence in conflict zones and play key roles in the development and implementation of MediCapt. I'm afraid I'm going to break it.
Good evening, everybody, and thank you for staying after what I know was a phenomenal day. And of course, I caught some of Sam's remarks, and it was just amazing. So if the video ever goes online, please let us know. So thank you so much, AAAS, and especially the people from the selection committee. It is such an honor that you selected MediCapt and PHR for this award. My name is, as you said, Ranit Mishori. I'm a physician working with Physicians for Human Rights, and I'm accepting this award with Katie Johnson on behalf of our team in Boston, in New York, in Kenya, and in the Congo. The idea of MediCapt began in about 2011, actually not far from where we're sitting right here, when PHR's Karen Namer, that you saw in the video, program director for the program on sexual violence in conflict zones, Susanna Sirkin and I met to discuss the program at a cafe nearby. We had all just been to the DRC, and then we were sitting there talking about launching a program when we started focusing on some of the issues that we had observed while in the DRC. So the real challenges in collecting evidence of sexual violence, in documenting the evidence correctly and in a way that's admissible in court, and then in submitting this information to law enforcement and to the judicial system. There were so many reasons why sexual violence was, and actually remains, so difficult to prosecute, especially in the context of the DRC, where forensic exams are rarely conducted. When they are conducted, they're not done very well. And some of it was actually very basic stuff, like there were no locks on the cabinets in the hospital and police stations. And it made it very easy to lose that important evidence, those charts that were needed for the prosecution. People could steal it, and if they actually had a motive, they could tamper with the evidence and with the charts. When the exams were conducted by physicians that we worked with, we noticed that the charts were really incomplete, and in some cases we've seen forensic notes on tiny, tiny pieces of paper that were barely legible, on papers that were stained and tucked away on shelves that there were most likely never to be presented to the police or see or find themselves in the court of law. There was also basic infrastructure problems. I'm talking about roads specifically. They were so difficult to navigate, and the trips to the police station to deliver the evidence and the medical documents were difficult and many times even treacherous, not only because of the conflict situation, but simply because the roads were so badly and poorly maintained. So as we sat here and drank our coffee, we thought, what if we could create some sort of a medical platform that would bypass all of that? But as a human rights organization and working in some of the very most remote parts of Africa, could we actually use technology in that part of Africa? To be sure, much more was needed to ensure that clinicians and members of the police force and the judicial system could actually talk to each other or complete forensic examinations with high quality. But the actual delivery of the system was part of the issue. So I just want to very briefly step back and say that MediCapt is part of a larger program created by PHR in 2011. It's called the Program on Sexual Violence in Conflict Zones, and it's a training and advocacy initiative that strives to enhance the way medical and legal professionals work together to collect, document, analyze, and preserve forensic evidence of sexual violence. We work with doctors, with nurses, with trauma counselors, with police officers, with lawyers, judges in Kenya and the DRC to develop standardized methods for the collection of forensic medical evidence. So if we could do that well, if we could bypass some of or all of those challenges that we had identified, we would have a much better chance of a successful prosecution or prosecutions and justice providing justice to the survivors. So at PHR, we knew how to create training programs, but we weren't sure whether undertaking a technology project was the right thing to do for a human rights organization. We'd never developed any apps before. We never had any expertise in-house. But we decided to give it a try Paper and pen just weren't cutting it anymore. And besides, we noticed that there were mobile phones everywhere, even in the most remote parts of the DRC, as you probably all know. So it's been several years of ups and downs and many successes and some challenges, but we're seeing some results. As you saw, Karen, in the video, we launched a pilot very recently, and our co-designers are the clinicians themselves, the end users. They've been telling us this has been very helpful for them when they're actually seeing patients. We finished the pilot in Kenya several months ago, and those clinicians who they're calling themselves the pioneers, they're writing up a white paper as we speak, and Katie is helping them put it all together, documenting their experiences with the technology and using it with patients. We are continuing to work with partners in the DRC and in Kenya to improve some of the technical features, and that's going to be an ongoing project. And we're working with new sites to launch MediCapt and continue with a formal evaluation of some of the successes and to mitigate current challenges and anticipated challenges. So there's certainly more work to do, but if our end users' excitement is any indication, we're on the right track here. And of course, I can say with some confidence now that yes, even a human rights organization can and should use technology, even if it seemed a little bit daunting at the time. And for the credits, again, the people who made MediCapt happen are Karen Namer, you saw her in the video, Tom McHale, Katie Johnson, Suzanne Banda Kidenda from Kenya, George Kuzma in the DRC, and on behalf of all of our partners and primarily the end users in Kenya and the DRC, thank you so, so much for this. It means so much to us, and hopefully we'll be able to come and report on how we're spreading MediCapt to other countries and other regions. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, and not to be the barrier between you and the reception. Before we close, I do have just a few thanks that I'd like to make. Thank you to Bill Morby, a member of the coalition, for suggesting the idea of this honor and helping to make it happen. Thank you to the Science and Human Rights Innovators Committee, Judith Tawney-Perter, Bill Morby, Enrique Piraces, Bill Leonard, Davina Dogana, Maria Cuides, Donnie Stedman, Meg Satterthwaite, Elaine Shea, and Cesar Garavito for their role in making this recognition happen. And a particular thanks to Judith Tawney-Perter for her contribution that allowed us to get this innovation off the ground. So if you too want to encourage innovation in human rights work through the development and application of science and technology, please talk to me over a drink at the reception about how you can contribute to that effort. And so with that, thank you very much, and go and enjoy.